from where you sit. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of The Trading Bell. This week on the program, we speak to the chairman of Kenya Airways, Michael Joseph. And Michael Joseph will be talking to us about how the company has performed and the strategic direction for the organization. But really, who is Michael Joseph? Let's take a look at his profile. Michael Joseph serves as the current chairman of Kenya Airways Board of Directors. Joseph also serves as a non-executive director on the boards of Vodacom Group South Africa, Vodacom Tanzania, Vodacom Mozambique and Safaricom Limited. Michael was one of the first World Bank Fellows appointed in March 2011 to advise governments, regulators and other institutions on mobile money and other ICT initiatives. Michael's most recent appointment in April 2017 is Non-Executive Director of MFS Africa, a leading Pan-African fintech company. Previously, Michael was the founding CEO of Safaricom Limited, steering the company from a subscriber base of less than 18,000 in 2000 to over 17 million mobile subscribers at his retirement in November 2010, making it the most successful company in East Africa. This phenomenal growth, stretching nearly a decade, was notable for the launch of many innovative products and services, and he was behind the launch of the highly successful launch and phenomenal growth of M-Pesa and its related services. He has extensive international experience in company startups, the implementation and operation of large wireless and wireline networks. Thank you, Michael.
Pleasure. Yeah,
some
nice
people call you MJ.
Yeah, some people do. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And Michael, such a difficult moment really for the airline, releasing results this week with a net loss of 7.5 billion shillings. Is the airline still viable?
Yeah, the airlines, look, you have to look at airlines in general. You can't just look at Kenya Airways and say, okay, Kenya Airways made a net loss. If you look at airlines across the world, and I don't really want to compare us, but if you look at airlines across the world, this is a difficult business. Many airlines are in the same situation that we are in. As you've seen in Europe for this last few months, many airlines have gone under. Too much debt, the same situation that we're in. But I think we're in a stronger position. We have a good market position. We have a good number of passengers. We've done better than we did last year. Unfortunately, we came into this, we've inherited somewhat our situation where we're in. If you look at where we came from last year, now because we're comparing 12 months with 9 months, it looks like our loss has increased. But in fact, our loss has decreased from last year, from 2017. So I think we're doing better. We're not there yet. We have some way to go. But to some extent, we're inheriting a situation that developed 5 years ago, and we're still trying to dig our way out of that. Are we in a viable position? I think we are in a strong position still. Okay, we're not in the best position. I would like to have more cash. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for me, coming from Safaricom, where I was in a strong cash position, you can do anything with money if you have money. Liquidity. Here, you struggle a little bit more. I think with the right strategy and with the right support, we are definitely viable.
I like your optimism, Michael. Of course, looking at the bigger picture, we are seeing Kenya Airways did quite some milestones in the year that just ended, that of 2018. Of course, opening new routes. One of the flagship routes right now is the New York route. And looking at the performance so far, how would you gauge this particular route? Are the prospects looking up, or was it a miscalculated move?
No, definitely not. But if you look at the net loss, if you say for 2008, just if you look at the P&L, the net loss was caused by probably three separate things. One was the New York route. The New York route we started in October last year. Sure. It was a massive investment. Now, when you fly to a country for the first time, we have no sales agents in America. We are flying point to point initially, Nairobi to New York. Our passengers have to buy another ticket if they want to go somewhere else. Sure. It's an investment. It's like starting a new business. You don't make money in your first year. So it contributed to the loss that we have. But we're confident that with the continuous support and with the continuous flying that we've continued to fly. When we first started flying, not many people thought we would continue to fly. They thought, oh, this is a one-off, we'll stop flying.
Sure.
When business people see we are flying 5 days a week or 7 days a week when the season turns, they start to have more confidence in us. And then, as you know, we're starting to have more code shares with Delta. That's that people can buy a ticket from Nairobi to beyond New York.
Sure.
And I think as the market becomes aware of Kenya Airways, and as Kenya grows in terms of market destination or Africa destination, I think it will improve. So it did contribute to the loss. Fuel price in 2018 hit us really hard.
Sure.
In the beginning. Remember, prices went nearly to $100 a barrel.
Correct.
Now, when fuel is 40% of your cost, this makes a huge impact on your bottom line, and that added as well to the loss that we had. And then,
sorry to jump in, Joseph.
Yeah.
So does this mean you'll have to review your hedging policy?
No. In 2018, this happened before we introduced hedging. So we just had to buy fuel. We have introduced a hedging policy now, but definitely it's now much better. We are hedging, and so we're hedging up to 65% of our demand, and we're hedging now at a price which is below the current market price for fuel. So it is working.
Okay.
So we've learned some lessons. We are getting better, but a lot of the investments we made in 2018 now have to start paying off in 2019. I've discovered one thing about the airline business. You don't turn this airline around just like that. It takes months, if not years, to turn an airline around. I've learned this lesson. I'm extremely impatient. I'm not comfortable where we are, because where you are now, where you're making losses, everybody looks at you as a loss-making enterprise, and it doesn't allow you to grow the airline in terms of financing new aircraft and things like that, which is what we need to do. So I'm pretty confident that that we are improving every year, and we will get better.
Of course, Joseph, I do bear with you in the situation you are in, especially when it comes to turning around the airline. But the impatience among Kenyans, among shareholders, is rising by the day. And of course, as you clearly put it, it's a question of time. We need to. It's more of a marathon. It's not a one-off race.
It's actually not a marathon. It's more than it's an ultra marathon, actually.
So, Michael, some of the key initiatives that you will be taking moving forward, as much as you've already done a lot of issues when it comes to cost management. At the same time, I heard you talking about issues to do with expanding your fleet. At the same time, you are having a challenging situation from a cash position.
Now look, we cannot, don't get me wrong, we are not going to expand our fleet unless we are in a position to afford to expand our fleet. As we are now, we have no aircraft orders at all.
Okay.
We're not buying any new aircraft. We're not in a position to do that until we change our financial position. We are not prepared to go back to the government to ask for another injection of funds. We have what we have, and we have to live within our means. If we can find a way to generate more cash through leveraging our current assets, then we will do that, and we will try to expand our fleet. But that's why we came up with this proposition of the PPP, and you may ask me about that later on.
Sure.
It was not the intention just to improve Kenya Airways by taking the money from JKA and putting it into Kenya Airways and growing Kenya Airways. That was not what we wanted to do. Our ultimate objective of the PPP proposal was to improve the Nairobi as an aviation hub for Kenya. And I've said this many, many times, and it was my main selling point to the government and to the president when I sold it to him, was look, many African headquarters are headquartered in Dubai and other places in the Middle East. Why? Because they have great connectivity. Because of Emirates, ET. I mean, you've seen some headquarters going to Ethiopia now.
Yeah.
Why do they go there? We have a better climate. We have better conditions for bringing up children. We have better schools. Why do they go there? They go because of the connectivity. If we can bring some of that connectivity to Nairobi and improving both the airport and the airline, we can bring those headquarters and those jobs here. That was the goal of this PPP proposal. Yes, it would benefit KQ because we could put together the assets of JKA and KQ, and we could leverage those assets not only to buy more aircraft but also to improve the airport. And that was our intention, simple. It was a 30-year partnership. And we still believe that was a viable idea. Okay, maybe we have to rethink and maybe come up with a variation of that idea.
Sure.
But we still think that was the right way to go. Because as we are today, as you rightly say, as we are today, if we just stay as we are with the current balance sheet that we have, we would grow, albeit very slowly. And that's not what I would like to see, and I don't believe that's what the Kenyan government would like to see.
MJ, you raised a very pertinent question there around the PPP. Of course, you've been bashed in all forms and measure, especially on Twitter. People now saying you've made a loss, you want to run JKIA. People are forgetting that, as you're saying, the loss-making cycle will one day come to an end. But looking at this PPP from a cash position, how is it going to boost your balance sheet in terms of immediate, quick wins?
No, let me put this really clearly. I mean, many people have bashed, as you say, on Twitter or social media, which I think that's the problem with social media. People can say whatever they like, and
Sure.
you can never reply in
Kenyans
time.
on Twitter.
And it's quite tough actually to deal with these things. First of all, we are not airline experts. We are not airport experts. We had no intention of saying, okay, KQ as it is now going to run JKI. That is never our intention, and it's clearly spelled out in our proposal. You know, we would hire airport specialists to help us run this. Okay, we've had a due diligence of JKI. We know what needs to be done. We were just proposing that we put the financial strength of JKI into one partnership, and we would use that we would leverage it. We wouldn't take the cash from JKI and put it into KQ, and that would be fine. What we do is leverage the balance sheet of these of this combined vehicle to finance the growth of the airport. Even the airport itself, without us, KA was going to invest in new terminals, and they were going to do exactly the same. We were just doing it now together with them. We were not taking the cash from them and stick it into KA. There was no way you could do it legally. It was just to leverage the balance sheet of the combined entity to finance growth in both the airport and the airline.
All right. So how far are we with this deal? Are we likely to close on it?
No, that's a question I have no idea. I mean, clearly I'm frustrated as you are and the public is about, you know, and I want to come back to another point you mentioned. I don't know where we are. Okay? The proposal, we submitted the proposal. You know, the PPP process is a very prescribed process by law. It's in the PPP Act. There's a process how you go about these things. We have done our side. We've submitted the proposal to KA, who's a proposed partner. KA board has submitted that proposal with their comments and suggestions to the PPP unit, and that's where it is. We don't know.
Are you getting enough government support?
That's another question. Now, you see, what happened is this when this proposal became public and probably prematurely public, because it was merely a proposal. It wasn't a plan.
Sure.
Still could have been changed and modified, whatever. You know, it got out of hand. The public got to know about it, and all the public could see was, aided and abetted by the media, was that there's going to be job losses at KA, and everybody would lose their job, and it was vested interest, it was corrupt deals, and I don't know how many things they said. That was never the intention, but it created a lot of storm, which I think everybody stopped. The official process was put on hold. Parliament decided, the Transport Committee of, I forget the long name, Transport and something Committee of Parliament, decided to have some hearings into it. They heard all the interested parties, those for, those against, those who were just wanted to have some input. Now they've gone away to review all those proposals. They will come back with a recommendation. I hope it's similar to what we have put forward, or in another guise maybe, but I hope somewhere someone has got to recognize it. Just because we have 100 flights a day or 120 flights a day, just because, you know, so many thousands of passengers go through JKI every day, everything is fine. It's not. It's not. We must do something. I think that we've made tremendous strides in what we have delivered over the last 2 years. We are not perfect. We're an airline. We're subject to the vagaries of the weather, the mechanical issues on the aircraft, where we fly, etc., the unions and everything like that. But I think we've made tremendous strides in our service delivery. We're not by far anywhere near there. If I look at maybe you know, where we are in the sprint race of say 100 of a kilometer, we're probably at 200 meters. Okay, we have a long way to go, but we're definitely getting better, and we understand our role that we play You know, every time an aircraft is delayed or cancelled, I hear about it 1,000 times. Believe me, it's not pleasant.
Sure.
So we are continuing to improve our service delivery with new people and new ways of doing things.
All right. MJ, as we come to the tail end of this conversation, of course, you and I do agree that we've seen a spike in terms of new airlines joining the airspace within the region. Looking at next door neighbors, Uganda have just kicked off Uganda Airlines. Tanzania, Magufuli is pushing for more flights and more aircrafts to be purchased. Where does this leave Kenya Airways in a time and place where we are seeing there's a scramble for the African routes, which have proved to be very lucrative?
No, I don't think the word is lucrative. I don't think that there are some routes that are lucrative. I don't think routes are terribly lucrative. I mean, you look at, you know, the average net margin airlines across the world is 8%. 8. Single digit, okay? You look at Safaricom's figures and look at the difference. Airlines are not very lucrative, okay? If you look at the most lucrative airline in the world, it's Southwest Airlines in America, okay? You know, it goes from 30% all the way down to -20, things like that. So it's not a lucrative business.
Yeah.
Getting back to your question, I think every country wants to have their own airline. It's a national pride. It's the same thing that I want to do here. It's an asset of the country. You need to use it. But I think as they start to grow their airline and start to buy aircraft, I think they'll understand that probably the best way to do this, and I think the president of Uganda said it the other, Museveni said it the other day, that, you know, we need to cooperate. There's no point in both of us flying Nairobi, Entebbe. Perhaps they fly Nairobi, Entebbe, and we fly for them somewhere else in Uganda. So,
Sure.
and the same with Tanzania. I think at some point, maybe not now, but in the next 2 years, I think we'll start to see how can we cooperate together, just like we've done with other airlines, like we're doing with Air Mauritius, or like we're doing with Egyptian Air. We cooperate, and even with SAA, we're cooperating.
Yeah.
So I think there's more cooperation that will be coming in. I think you've seen we've seen the trend now in internationally, like we have these airline allowances, like the Sky Team Alliance and things like that. I think there's better ways to do business, and this is more JVs, and so I think that's the solution. We welcome them. Of course, we don't want to compete directly, because then we'll all lose. But we want to see maybe there's ways to cooperate and work together.
All right. And what would be your parting shot, Michael, in terms of where do you see the airline? Some analysts have said there's a ray of hope. Others are still skeptical. I don't know. What's your view?
Look, this is a difficult thing for me. You know, when I took this job 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago now, I did not know this job was so difficult. I did not know where the real situation of Kenya Airways, like many people. But you know, I've been 2.5 years into it now. I'm impatient as anything. I wish we turned this thing around quicker. But I do certainly say there's a ray of hope. I don't say it's in the next 1, 2, or 3 years, but it's definitely there if we do the right things, and if we take the right strategic decisions, not the operational decisions that we can still do, but strategically we must make the right decisions in order to turn this around. You know, I'm the chairman of this airline. You know, my name is on this airline. You know,
Sure.
My name is on this thing, and you know, I'm known for the success of Safaricom, for the success of M-Pesa. Everybody says, "Oh, Michael, you can do this. You can turn this around." I wish they'd stop telling me that, because it puts a huge burden on me to do that.
Because these are two different businesses.
Two different businesses. Safaricom I built from scratch. This one I'm inheriting a 40-year-old business with.
But the concept is the same.
No, it's different. It's a very complicated business. It's a service business, you're right, but it has a lot more complex. It's a lot more complex than I thought. It's very interesting, but can I do it? I believe I can do it. I must do it. To be honest with you, I must do it. I don't have an option but to be successful at this. How do you measure success is going to be another point. Will I measure success on profitability? I don't think that will be the measure of success
at the moment.
Of this at the moment. The measure of success would be: are we starting to grow our revenue? Are we starting to grow? Yes, our revenue, our network, our routes, and the fleet. And are we working together with KA to make this a stronger aviation unit?
All right. Thank you so much, Michael Joseph. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I'll need it.
Stay strong.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.